Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 40 of Bodied, the Cloud9 Fancast. Tonight we'll be discussing C9 CSGO's play at the PGL American Minor, then move on to talk about C9's Week 2 of the NALCS. I'm your host, Havoc Puss, as always, and today I am joined by...
Sorry, Dr. Manhattan here. Just completely new to this. Also, on the side, I do a podcast, but I'm joining the Bodied cast today.
I'm Trey.
Yeah, Trey's here.
Returning and ready to yell about this week's games.
Yeah, and I'm Ian. I'm back again for another episode. It's been a little while, but hopefully we can all have fun on this one together.
Yes.
With our nice
Friendship.
Bodied family.
The ultimate goal of Bodied, the Cloud9 Fancast.
There you go.
Bringing new and old together to have fun and talk about C9.
Absolutely.
So without further ado, let's jump into CS:GO and their somewhat, I would say, surprising tournament results here. They played at the American Minor, and the tournament would decide who would go on to the American Major qualifier. Their system is weird, but I think probably the biggest thing to note is that the in-game leadership once again has been swapped around due to Cloud9's recent struggles. Stewie has once again taken the reins as the in-game leader for this tournament, and I think it worked out really, really well.
Yeah, for sure. I really think that the team played more cohesive. We dropped, I think, one game in total. Like, we dropped against Immortals 2-0 in upper bracket, and then we lost once to Immortals in grand finals. But it was really important for us to get this win because we barely missed out by one game on going to the last major. So this was extremely important to get back to that qualifier so we can take another shot at it.
Yeah, I agree. I also kind of like Stewie's version of CSGO, I guess, better than Automatics. When it looked like, at least from this tournament, since he was the leader, the team was taking a much more aggressive approach to a lot of their maps and such. They were looking a lot more aggressive and maybe doing things, I think, with a bit more confidence than previously. I think with Automatics shot calling, I think it was much more kind of reserved and maybe a bit too passive for what our players like to do. And I think with how Stewie handled the team, it gave us a lot of success. Like you said, we only lost to Immortals in the upper bracket, and then we went on to beat them. It's actually our first time beating them on a LAN, I believe. So that was actually a really big victory for us.
Oh, especially. And it was almost like the high effect, where we kind of struggled shot calling wise. We were very indecisive with what we wanted to do previously. And this just looked almost with taste back to EPL 4 Pro Finals, where we actually beat SK in Brazil. So I think Stewie is just a better in-game leader. As long as his play is not getting hurt too much, I think it's better for the team.
It didn't seem to hurt. His play seemed fine, at least from what I saw. I'm not, super steeped in CS:GO, so maybe I was missing out on some intricacies that maybe more adept viewers would notice. But at least to me, it seemed like his play was just about the same, if not maybe a little bit better.
Oh, I agree.
Well, they walked away with a 30,000 cash prize, as well as a spot at the American Major qualifier. I have to ask you guys before we move on, what's Cloud9's immediate future looking like? Are they going to be able to qualify for the major this time, or are they up against stiff competition?
I gotta say, the people at the qualifier are no small threat. We have Immortals still made it because both number 1 and number 2 makes it. there are teams like Hellraisers that are going, and there's just a lot of competition. Last time we stumbled because we lost to Renegades and Tyloo, who are both also there again. So we're really going to need to look to play solidly on our maps and not play into the strategies of other teams.
I agree. I don't know anything about CS:GO. Like I kind of know how it works, but I don't keep up with it. So I agree with what Trey said.
This is the struggle of Frozen and Pie both being out this week, but we'll make do.
Yeah, you and I both, man. I tried to, but and I think like last year I tried to, but I was kind of into it. But I mean, with that and LCS, I've been trying to keep up more with CS:GO. Unfortunately, I don't.
It's a very exciting game. I highly recommend it. Even if you don't play CS, it's still extremely exciting to watch. I think especially with Cloud9's team, with the narrative of them trying to search for some consistency, and them potentially finding this with Stewie back in the shot calling role. So definitely watch that. Try to keep up with their endeavors because it's super great,
It
they
is.
could always use the support.
Dude, you know what Cloud9 should pick up a team in?
What?
Motherfucking Rocket League.
That would be quite interesting.
There was some speculation going around that I cannot confirm or deny at one point, but didn't really happen.
Wow.
Because that was on Twitch a little while ago, like the grand finals or whatever for Rocket League, and I watched that, and that is lit. That was so much fun to watch.
It's a great game, and it's going to almost every system now. Even the Switch is getting Rocket League. I think it'll be really interesting.
Yeah,
glad I brought a
that
Switch.
professional Rocket League is fantastic to watch.
Maybe you can try out for Cloud9's Rocket League team if they ever decide to get one.
Dude,
Yeah.
maybe.
C9 Ian.
Yeah.
I'm
I can
like
see it
level
now.
10 in Rocket League.
It'll be great.
I like barely play it. I'll try though. I'll try.
All right, I believe in you.
Hell yeah.
Okay, so let's before we get on into the LCS stuff, wanted to give everyone a little fantasy update. Frozen Creek, our reigning champ from last season, is taking a page out of Cloud9's book and losing the first 2 games. What diabolical schemes is he planning to secure his victory? Only his mad brain can know.
I think he's going for the classic Cloud9 reverse
Oh,
sweep.
of course.
So he's gonna lose. He's gonna lose like 2 more games in a row, and this just drop somebody, add high, and then
It's
win
all a
every
bait.
game.
He's all just baiting us so he can get all the really good picks in the end.
Or maybe he's taking
Amazing.
a page out of like the LPL old handbook, and he's basically just trying to sandbag. That way, you guys.
Oh, he gets better drafts next time.
Essentially.
Hey.
He's Cleveland Brownsing it. That'd be pretty good.
That would be.
Dude, you can't be professional. You can't be true professional sports until you have the sandbagging to get better draft picks.
Exactly.
No. What's happening? We're still in the fourth quarter. We're still in the first quarter. Excuse me. He's letting the Atlanta Falcons get this 28-30 lead. All right.
Oh
my god, that's way too soon.
And then he's just gonna.
Well, if only Pie was here.
He's
so
just
he
gonna
could
bring
die a
it
little more
back.
inside.
This is the only reason I can say it because Pie's not here.
Oh man.
As far as people who are ahead, Trey and Mattiels, who is a friend of the show from TSM's podcast, just tilt them. If you want to check them out, I think they're still doing episodes. I'm not sure, but he's definitely a part of that. But they're both tied at first with 2-0. So right now they're the people to beat. Very exciting stuff. Trey, who do you think are big picks right now?
I think anybody on C9 is just like a big threat to gain a lot of points. So if you pick up any of them or can pick up any of them, that's a really great thing to consider.
Yeah, Jensen
I
got
also
me like 100 points last week.
Jesus.
I also think like top EU teams or even mid-tier EU teams are super valuable. Like any players you can get on those teams are really good, especially when they only have one game and it's against like a similar opponent, because those games will go on forever and it's just so many points. And then they're doubled because they only have one game that week.
So many points. All right, well, you heard it here first, everybody. If you want fantasy success, follow Trace's tips. Trace's hot tips. Make a hashtag out of that.
Sounds like insider information, if you ask me.
I'm trying to be as marketable as possible.
You're pretty much my sellout bot.
All right, well, let's move on to the NALCS, where we talk about Cloud9's bounce back, where they got the 2-0 weekend. They faced against Phoenix One and Echo Fox. And I kind of want to start off this discussion by putting the spotlight on Sneaky. Now, sometimes he's gotten a little bit of flack. Sometimes he doesn't make the flashiest of plays, but Sneaky has certainly come up to be a standout, I think, at least so far in this season. He has mastered the ADC Kennen pick, which only previously Reckless could play. He has been leading in DPM, and I think is one of the highest in CS per minute. And he is just playing very consistently right now. Do you think this could be a fabled MVP run for our boy?
Yes, for our boy Smoothie.
I was actually gonna make that point where it's like, as good as I think Sneaky is doing right now, I feel like it's just the usual support kind of, I don't know what you want to call it, but it's just not doing Smoothie enough justice in that one. I was watching his play. What were some of the picks that I was looking at? Especially during game what was it playing? Let's see. So I'm just kind of going through these picks. Against Echo Fox, like I believe that his thresh was definitely was pretty decent. And I'm actually kind of underselling it, but he's been relatively notorious. So to be fair, there was a lot of decent threshes back in like season 3, season 4. But his thresh pick right now has just been amazing, as it's a very staple pick in the meta right now, or just a very good pick. But with playmaking supports coming into the meta a lot more, as opposed to like these Kennens, like these Karmas and these Lucians, as they were talking a lot during the broadcast, we're gonna see a lot more of a dynamic Smoothie coming out of this season. If you guys want to make a comment on that.
I actually totally agree, and I think we could see from last week to this week the total unity of Smoothie and Sneaky got so much better, especially on that Zaya Rakan pick in was it game 2 of P1 versus C9? I think it was.
Yes, we did it game 2 versus P1.
Yeah, that was actually super well played. I think with more time and farther on as we get into the season, we may see some more unique combos, because it seems like C9 wants to play their own game. And we've seen what happens when they can get to the late game. It's just fixing that early game, and this was a problem last split too. We have to fix our early game. It looked really good versus P1, but P1 is 0-4 right now. So
yeah, I absolutely agree. This was it was a problem going towards like the later, I would say more so in the later halves of like last season, last split. Part of me, like, I remember watching, contracts and like really start to be like this playmaker back in like the early weeks, like, when not too many people knew what he was capable of. And yeah, I'm really starting to miss that contracts. Granted, now while Lee Sin is still a stable pick right now, we see like his signature Kha'Zix isn't really, that's more of like a tier 2 jungler at this point. And he had to even be relegated down to the Olaf during the pick ban during P1. It was game 1.
Hey, his Olaf was
His
amazing.
Olaf is clean.
It was pretty clean. I will not deny him that one. But I would like to see more of a proactive. At least mainly just because the Lee Sin is still a pretty decent pick in the competitive state right now.
I think
Yeah.
he is kind of being at least a little bit more proactive. I think speaking in contracts and more of a general thing from this weekend, I really like that he was playing more towards the bottom half of the map instead of kind of camping Jensen or camping the top lane. He was showing a lot of attention to Sneaky and Smoothie, and I think Cloud9 is realizing that our bot lane can actually be a super big threat, especially now with things like Zion Rakan and a bunch of other playmaking ADCs and ADC in general being a lot better of a role. So I think kind of us realizing that we actually have a super big threat in the bot lane and exploiting that threat can really kind of balloon the game open for us. I think that's that's something we are really working towards, and I really like that we're doing that.
Yeah,
I
I
agree.
really, I really like, I really like the playing around the bot lane mentality, because I definitely know for a fact that their bot lane can do fantastic things. Sneaky and Smoothie have proven time and time again that they have the ability to hard carry games and just absolutely dominate. And I feel like a lot of that was lost last split because of the ADC just not being in a good spot at all, and just overall Sneaky, as well as a lot of other ADCs in North America, to be fair, because of the ADC role not being super strong, just not looking as good as we had expected them to. But now that that's kind of passed and moved on, and ADC is much more relevant again, I'm really hoping that they will try and play around their bot lane strengths more than they did last split. Because like you said, the potential is there, and the meta is in favor of that. And I think that given the right tools, they can absolutely do incredible things with this team. They just have to be given the opportunities from contracts and Jensen to be able to do that.
Oh, for sure. And I also want to say that we've seen what we can do with a lead, especially in bot lane. Like, I believe it was that first P1 game where we got a lead bot lane, and then, like, 2 minutes later, Smoothie was top. Early on into the game, where when we get a lead, especially in bot, it opens us up to play around the map so much easier, and we play around our leads so much so that it creates like a whole different team when we're ahead than when we're behind.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And Smoothie has been known to play roaming supports before and be very proactive around the map with roaming, like going specifically to mid a lot of times and trying to help Jensen get a lead. And so it's not, like you said, it's not only impacting the bot lane, it's impacting everyone, because it enables Smoothie to go roam. It enables us to get ahead in the lane swaps. We could take their turret, rotate top lane, start taking top turret before they can. And it really speeds the game up to a point where C9 doesn't have to be hindered anymore by everyone being in their lanes. They can start playing the map like we know they know how to, and that's like their big strength, is knowing how to play the map and knowing how to team fight. And so it really gets the game to that point where they can start shining.
Yeah,
I think that's Smoothie, like, and this isn't like, this shouldn't really be, just for lack of better than that, I don't really think this should be like new to seeing like Smoothie being more proactive on the map. I recall even back, you can date this back towards like the World Championship, back when like I think he played like 2-3 Alistar games during the group stage, and he was just roaming all over bot side and like really trying to develop leads. I think this was mainly evident during the IMA series. I think he might have played Alistar, but there's a few other Alistar games they had where like, C9 won these big fights, and he was a huge part of that. And I'm glad that, like huge playmaking guys like Rakan, who we saw that awesome wombo combo on like the red side jungle that essentially won them the game. We saw him with the Thresh that was actually pretty decent. And And even back towards like the whole bunny smoothie fiasco back in the early last year, during summer 2016. We saw that like his Bard was probably one of the cleanest we saw in the whole league. So I think that he's going to be a very big key factor in a lot of like what Cloud9 does. And like you say, that's like how he does can really just affect, and how the bot lane does can really just start to really just get the snowball rolling. And I do believe that they can carry these games quite hard. The question really is, does come to contracts again with how much pressure he's putting towards bot lane, and how Jensen can start to kind of try to at least go even, or even to some degree develop his own advantages. So it's going to be curious to see the next couple of weeks how they develop that.
Yeah, I think I kind of want to ask you guys one more question before we move on to the match previews. Maybe get one more talking point in, and that's probably looking at how they performed this week. What kind of trajectory is Cloud9 on for this week and maybe even the upcoming weeks? They 2-0'd Phoenix 1. In game 1, they had pretty much a perfect game. And then game 2, they maybe struggled a bit and maybe had some lapses in macro play from Ray and the rest of the team. Versus Echo Fox, they had that super long game that was like, I think maybe like 70 plus minutes or something, or 60 plus minutes. But then they had game 2, and it was also the shortest game in summer 2017 at like 23 minutes. So
which should not have been the shortest game.
Neither of those should have been wins.
Yeah.
No, that series was retarded.
I agree.
Yeah,
it really caught me off guard. Like right when Echo Fox is going for like 20 minutes and 30 seconds. Like, oh shit, they're going for Baron. I'm thinking like,
I was like, is High in this game? What's
that was
going
just
on?
a really ballsy move, and I said like, I think in my head said like this might escalate the game in Cloud9's favor, and that was like me just saying like, okay, we'll take a few turrets. But for them to just say like, yeah, we're just gonna go for a game after this Baron, it's like, whoa, like that was something else.
Well, I think if Echo Fox, because I watched this play over and over again because I was so dumbfounded. Like, I think they underestimated the death timers, and then once they got on the Baron, I don't remember who, but I believe somebody gets out of the pit to try and deal with someone, and then it leaves 3 people who can't get over the wall with Sneaky just throwing stuff in. And they have to decide whether they keep going on Baron or go on Sneaky. And they decide to keep going on Baron, and they get it low enough, but they're in the back of the pit, so they're taking more damage from Baron anyways. So it allows Sneaky to just come in, ult, flash, and stun 3 people, plus the extra magic damage from the MR and armor reduction from Baron just melts the team. And it just was an indecisiveness to make a call that led Echo Fox to that horrid ending Baron.
Yeah, that was a huge throw.
Yeah, I was not expecting that to be the game.
It was really bad. They were ahead, tried to do Baron, got aced. I don't remember if they got completely aced or not, but like the majority of their team was dead. C9 got Baron and then ended the game like a minute and a half later. It was one of the most horrific throws I've ever seen, because like a team that was significantly ahead, like they had control of the game, loses the game in under 2 minutes. It was so impressively terrible.
Beyond Dignitas level Baron throw, like.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
it really was.
It was so weird because we had just gotten out of this super long game 1.
Yeah,
where
exactly.
They had actually some pretty good macro play. They were kept splitting us apart and making us struggle and kind of turtle for a really long time. And like they had really good decisiveness in that game. And then you come to this and you're like, oh god, they're doing Baron. This could actually do a lot. This is really bold.
Yeah.
And then it goes that badly.
And then it just completely backfires. It's basically the epitome of the classic Scar quote. It's just up until they lose the game, they're winning.
So you're saying Echo Fox is the new Ghost?
Yeah, pretty much.
Actually-
It's like up until they lose the game, they're winning, and it's like, well, that's pretty true in that case.
I mean, actually, the funny thing you mentioned that quote is somebody actually, like, they shortened that, like, I think the top comment on Reddit for that, like, post-game discussion was actually Echo Fox the series, and then it was literally that quote.
Oh yeah, that quote was.
Well, that's pretty
people love to
true.
throw
If
that
you
one around on Reddit.
if you look at the first game, our Nexus was at like 600 health.
I was
So-
pretty much biting my nails like that entire first game. It was, and I was even like surprised that we even won.
Yeah, it
Because we
was-
shouldn't have won.
it
No,
was
I agree,
certainly
I agree.
very-
I was
United
just
had
like-
no right
Well,
winning that
There was times
game.
where I'm like, all right, before.
Okay,
Yeah, let's.
All right, all right.
we shouldn't have won, but neither should they. It was bad.
No one
Okay,
should.
let's
Okay,
move
let's-
on.
So I asked before we kind of got off the rails and memeing about how bad Echo Fox is at actually winning. Well, where do you think the team's trajectory is going from here? Are we looking to steadily improve? What do you guys think is going to happen within the next few weeks?
That's honestly
I think-
so hard for me to say, because last split it was like, oh yeah, C9 looks like a pretty good team. They just need to work on their early game a little bit, and like I'm sure that'll get fixed later into the season, since that's the only thing they have to work on. And then C9 just got progressively worse throughout the season. And so now it's like a super stark contrast between the first week of LCS, which, albeit they didn't have Impact with them, and their stuff back at the house was kind of like all screwy. But now this week, it's like they look all right. They don't look too bad. And hopefully, looking forwards optimistically, hopefully it'll be better. Like, they'll be able to say, oh yeah, we have these things we need to work on and fix them. But at the same time, I can't say with any amount of true certainty that that's what's going to happen, because they proved me wrong last split. They proved me very wrong. So
Nah,
I
Yeah.
just don't
nah,
know.
they got it this time.
I think we had a big realization after the first week, and when Impact actually started practicing with the team again, I think it really helped Ray. So I think Ray is going to get progressively better. Impact has not looked great, and it may be a meta thing. If you go back to Season 4 and looked at Impact, he didn't play that well either, and it was kind of a similar meta. So if we see a big top lane change, I think Impact will come back in, but there just isn't a lot of tanks that Impact can play, and I'm sorry, Impact's Jarvan, I don't know why it's there. Like, this is the reason. That's Ray's pocket
I
pick.
didn't understand that pick either.
Well, I mean, in the context of the match, it was fine, but if you're going in with that type of draft, I think you need to put Ray in, because the tank was banned. I'm pretty sure that was, yeah, you banned Galio, and Gragas was already banned. Or, no, they first picked Gragas, so you don't really have another tank to play. I
No,
just...
yeah. I totally get it.
Like, the only other thing is you could go for Shin, but Gragas counterpicks that, so it's like, it's really awkward to see.
Yeah, his Gragas in I think it was the Echo Fox, that super long.
In Echo Fox versus C9 Game 1, it looked bad, but that's because he was in a bad lane.
His Gragas is,
and I can
is
understand
always
that.
super awkward, because sometimes he does really fine on it, and sometimes he does well, and other times he just like really underperforms and has these really odd ultimates where he just kind of throws them out for no reason sometimes, and you're just kind of watching it like, why did he do that? Why did he use his ultimate for no reason? So it's kind of weird.
Maybe he has like, maybe he's just seeing things like. Impact doped up right before the
He
game. It's
takes
like,
it-
oh shit, I'm getting ganked. R.
Drops acid right before the game.
Dude, they're ganking me. Oh god. Impact's not feeling well again, guys.
All right. Well, let's move on to the match preview for this weekend. Super exciting stuff. This Saturday, June 17th at 3 p.m. Eastern, we have Cloud9 versus a resurgent Immortals, looking incredibly strong at 3-1. Xmithie and Pole Belter are certainly having a really nice breakout performance. They're looking like they have gotten back to their old selves and playing pretty well. Where do you guys think that Cloud9 should really attack in order to make this game a win? I think we should look to putting a lot of pressure bot lane like we did against Echo Fox.
I was actually gonna say that was my first key area, of try to focus against Immortals, because while right now, at least towards last spring, that Cody and Ole did pick up a lot of the synergy, and I did think that they did quite well towards the end. I don't really think that, in terms of proactivity right now, I think that just aids the fact that they're an inherent advantage, because I'm pretty sure almost anybody could agree that Sneaky is the better AD carry in that one, and also Smoothie in that one. So individually laning, there's the advantage there, but Smoothie I don't really think you could try to target ban Smoothie as Thresh, or maybe the Rakan, without giving up a few decent picks. It depends on what side they're playing for the most part, I would say. Because we all know are they playing in the new patch yet? Does anybody know that?
They're playing on.
They played on 7-Eleven last
a
patch,
week
and they'll be playing on 7-Eleven this
Yeah.
patch.
Okay.
So next week they'll be playing on the patch that just dropped today.
Pro play is always a week behind the current patch.
All right, yeah, I just want to make sure, because I'm kind of fuzzy with my dates with patching. But the Zac is on red side. The Zac is pretty much still auto ban on red side, and right now, and I don't really think that it's worth. And there's also a few power picks right now, such as stuff like Galio. I'm trying to think of a few more other go-to bans right now. I'm pretty sure a lot of teams are banning Caitlyn right now. So it's gonna be really tough to try to target ban, depending on how the draft goes with the phases. It's gonna be really tough to try to ban stuff out like Rakan or Thresh, which we both know Smoothie can play very well. And even if they try to ban those, we've seen Smoothie have success on other supports. And Sneaky, I don't think to my knowledge, I don't think there's a single AD carry he can't play. And that's gonna be a huge liability compared to a bot lane that's only had a split worth of playing. They're doing very well, but I think that's where they should really focus if they want to beat Immortals.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I agree, but I'm gonna take this in a different route. I think the players are playing fine. I think what really needs to be focused on is the draft. We can't, if we're going to play like we're playing right now, we can't draft for the early game. Because if we draft for the early game and lose, it doesn't matter how good our late game team fighting is, we're going to get bodied. We're going to just get steamrolled. And we saw that in, actually, the TSM games, which a lot of other things contributed to that. But I think the draft is really important to look at. I think we really need to assess what type of drafts we want going into beforehand, and either put Ray on something respectively or Impact on something respectively that they do well.
Speaking of Ray and Impact, Trey, who do you think should start versus Flame? He's a very skilled player, obviously. Who do you want to go up against him in the top lane? Because there's a lot of pros and cons to both player. Lots of, drafting things that you can kind of do since we have this nice top lane duo. Who do you think would be a better fit for this matchup?
I think the better fit would probably, providing that he plays well, would be Impact. Because Impact has played Flame many times before. And he actually has quite a history against Flame. And Impact has a very strong history of also being able to come take incoming ganks, which Smithy, if he's going to gank anywhere, it would probably be top, because Pobelter is a solid mid who doesn't really go for anything, and he's more kind of passive. And their bot lane, they're probably expecting to lose bot lane, so I'm not really sure. But I think you put Impact in because he usually is able to tank ganks super well.
Plus, I think he works a lot better with getting not a lot of resources. He's been pretty good at being a low econ top laner, so we can kind of shift resources over to Sneaky and probably to a larger extent Jensen. So even if he is a bit behind, I think through mechanics and everything and how his macro play is, he can kind of bounce back relatively easily. So even if, he is subject to a bunch of 3-man ganks, which teams seem to really like to do against us, probably because individually the lanes are pretty dominant on their own. But yeah, I agree. I think that Impact would probably be the better choice in this situation.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that having that top lane sponge for ganks that can just absorb pressure like no one else is super, super helpful, especially when you have someone in the top lane like that is going to see pressure given to them and assistance given to them a good amount. So I think that'll definitely help out the bot lane, which contracts can then focus on, and that should definitely help out accelerate the game. And I do think that is a good strategy that C9 could roll with.
Yeah, agreed.
Agreed.
Does anyone have any final points on the Immortals match before we get into the FlyQuest one?
Are we going to make predictions at the end?
Yeah, we'll do predictions at the end.
Okay.
Well, Sunday, June 18th at 6 p.m. Eastern, we have Cloud9 versus FlyQuest. Everyone loves the Civil War C9 Blue versus C9 White narrative. It's always fun just to kind of talk about. FlyQuest kind of having a bumpy time. They're at 1-3. Personally, I think the biggest things to watch are probably High versus Jensen, because that's always a fun one to watch. And I think maybe something to watch now is probably the bot lane, since they do have Turtle now in the mix. What do you guys think the bot lane is going to be like, since Turtle can maybe be a bit more aggressive than Altec?
I mean, I think that he has potential to be good, but I just think that C9's bot lane is better overall in almost every aspect. Turtle, while yes, he's a good player, he doesn't he just goes too aggressive. He gets caught out. He gets he's in mispositions in team fights, and I believe that C9 can take advantage of that super, super hard. If Smoothie can play someone like Blitzcrank or Thresh or Taric or someone that's, or not necessarily, Taric's not super in the meta right now, but someone that can make good, strong picks, I think that that'll really make it so that the chances of FlyQuest winning any kind of, I guess, evenly fought team fight, if it's just in a lane, say mid lane or something, I think that'll make the chances of them winning something like that significantly lower, because Smoothie can just pick off Turtle, and at that point the fight's basically over. And so I don't think either one of them is going to pop off super hard in lane, but I feel like Sneaky's team fight prowess and ability to position properly just significantly outweighs Turtle in almost every aspect. So that's basically how I feel about that.
The one thing I will say about this match is, this is the one I'm much more worried about this week, even though they have the worst record. When you look at Immortals as a team, they're 3-1, but their wins are again only to FlyQuest, P1, and surprisingly TSM. But TSM, meh. What I will say about FlyQuest is they play very wild cardish. Like, they don't really have a set strength. They just kind of use high on the fly, so to say.
I was gonna make some stupid fun.
So I think because of that, you really need to be careful, because this is the type of team that I would be worried about just wrecking us in the early game and us not being able to come back just because some miraculous high shot called 20-minute Baron actually works. That's what I could see happening.
Yeah, I think that's what most people are kind of expecting from these matches. High's shot calling is definitely unpredictable, so at least that's, in my mind, is how I see kind of a FlyQuest game just in general going. High just kind of says, we're going to do Baron, and it's like 20 minutes, and they're down, I don't know how much gold, but the team's just like, yes, sir, and everyone piles onto Baron. But, I mean, I think his crazy shot calling does make for really entertaining to watch games. But,
oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think that's why everyone loves High, is because the shot calling is so, I don't even know a word for it. It's just so wild and crazy, and it's like jazz.
It's unpredictable.
Yeah, it's like jazz. Everyone else is kind of playing with like sheet music, and everyone is going sort of more strategic and kind of by the numbers, and High is beat bopping and scatting all over the place.
Yeah, with FlyQuest, you never know if they're going to win or if they're going to lose, but you're going to have a damn fun time watching them.
I would say another area that I kind of do want to focus on a bit is also mainly I think we touched on the bot lane, and the only other part that I would say right now is also not only is Turtle's mispositioning on the fact like mispositioning kind of liability, but I mean you also have Lemon, who tends to be very passive in lane. I actually decided to look up his stats right now based on just champions, and the only kind of engaged support he's kind of played, I think he played like one Morgana game, and then he played a Zyra game. But I feel like Smoothie will definitely punish a bit more passivity in the lane. But that was just a side point that I would make. I would say the real key matchup, besides the good old Master versus Apprentice, High and Jensen related. But the one I really want to focus on right now, just in terms because I feel like they're relatively evenly matched up, is Moon and Contracts on that one. Both have very aggressive, both have similarly aggressive styles when it comes to jungling. I mean, we saw Moon even earlier last season just completely pop off on some games, and was actually looking like one of the best easily one of the best junglers in the league, which is surprising considering he didn't really have a great stint on NRG. But his synergy with High is surreal, to say the least. You can see that High's already taken him under his wing, and he does put a lot of focus towards mid lane. So the question is, how will Jensen do? Considering I feel like Contracts wants to go towards bot lane, but also how does Contracts match up against Moon? I mean, that's another matchup that I feel like we should definitely focus on. And even LoL Esports, I think they posted a little hype trailer, and the two players they focused on were Moon and Contracts, but I think that's going to be one that really should be focused right now.
Will the Moon reign high, or will they get lost in the clouds?
I like it.
It's better than what I would have said, probably. Yeah, I can't really think of anything else for the FlyQuest thing. Trey, do you want to check the chat and see if we have any questions from anybody?
Yo, it's a barren wasteland over here.
Oh no.
Why does no one ever want to ask us questions?
Feels bad. Man.
It's fine. This is a long podcast. This is one that you like put on your car, just drive around. You're listening. You're doing your morning commute, and you're like, "Huh, these guys are fucking
I feel like
retards."
In the morning, then good morning, man. I hope you have a nice morning.
I feel like I should say
These
more
guys are
outlandish
fucking
opinions, just so like Reddit can jump on us and we can get more traffic.
There you go.
I mean, I could always be like, something sneaky is trash, and then I could. So many fanboys would just harass
So
me.
many.
Let it be known that don't take that sound clip and make anything out of
Quick,
it.
someone take it out of context.
Reddit, that's your job today.
I think Sneaky is an amazing player. That was just sarcasm. Please don't do this to me.
All right. Well, let's kind of go down the line and everyone give the your predictions for this weekend and how do you think Cloud9 is going to do. So let's start off with Dr. Manhattan. Dr. Manhattan, what do you think? How do you think we're going to do?
This weekend, I would say right now, even though I think as you guys mentioned that wild cards are a thing, I feel like C9 is not easily threatened by cheese, so I think that I think that it's a 2-0 versus FlyQuest. Immortals does kind of make me sweat a bit more, just because I feel like Xmithy with the Xmithy Pobelter synergy is very well, and they've developed that over CLG, so I feel like that's just now carrying on over, and I just want to I don't think that Pobelter really I don't think really Pobelter has what it takes to, even though I think that's going to be a 2-1. I think that another lane to focus on is Pobelter and how he does against Jensen. But it's going to be a 2-1 Immortals, just sidetracking 2-1 Immortals, and I think we'll sweep FlyQuest.
All right, Trey.
I'm gonna have to actually say 2-0 Immortals, because I don't think, depending on how Xmithy plays, I don't think that should be too hard of a matchup, honestly. I think I'm going to say 2-1 FlyQuest, and I think we're going to, just because of our early game, we'll probably drop a game to them, because High will pull off some crazy shit like he always does.
Maybe we see some Mordekaiser again.
Oh god.
Hui.
One can only hope, as someone who really liked Mordekaiser bot lane when that was a thing.
Champion is so stupid.
He's great. What are you talking about? He's a spooky ghost man.
I hit Q once, does nothing. Hit Q twice, I did a little bit of damage. Hit Q the third time, your health is gone.
Pretty much, dude. I hate that champion.
Ian,
Yeah,
what are your predictions?
I think it's going to be 2-0 FlyQuest. I think that C9 is just overall the better team there. I don't see FlyQuest taking a game off them unless they pull out some kind of like insane cheese. With Immortals, I think it'll be a really close series. I'm going to give it 3-1 to C9, but I honestly do believe it could go either way, and I believe that it will be close.
3-1. They play an extra game?
No, I think he's saying for the week.
Wait, what did I say?
You said 3-1 against
Oh,
Immortals.
3-1. Oh, whoops. I meant to say 2-1. Yeah,
We're not
I
in
misspoke
playoffs
here.
yet, man.
I was thinking 3-game series and C9 drops one game and that came out as 3-1.
No, you're
So but yeah.
3 minus 1 equals 3.
Yes.
But yeah, I think it'll be a 2-1 versus Immortals, and I think that it will be a hard-fought and close series.
All right. Sounds good. I definitely think we'll win 2-1 versus Immortals, and I think our team is pretty disciplined, and I think we can definitely 2-0 FlyQuest. I think we're just a notch or two above them with what they have right now. So I think that should be a pretty clean-cut victory. But yeah, let's close this out now with if there's any moments of the week that you guys have, anything special that you saw. It doesn't have to be Cloud9 related. It can be any sort of other esports thing that you saw or anything that super cool that happened that you wanted to mention, now is the time to share.
I will start us off by talking about E3. A lot of good-looking games, I think. Like Wolfenstein 2. Most importantly,
Metroid
though,
Prime 4?
That
there was no gameplay. I can't get
I
hyped
can
over
get
something
hyped
with no
behind
gameplay.
it
Come on,
because
man.
it's been like 10 years.
Look, I'm glad Metroid's coming. I'm really glad, but until we see gameplay, it's just a happy
It's not
thought.
just a Metroid
all
game,
right?
it's a Metroid Prime game. The best of the
No,
series.
I understand. XCOM Mario, or Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, I believe. That game actually looks really fun and really surprising.
Dude, I'm excited for Metro Exodus. That game looks sick.
I also Detroit
I was
Become
actually gonna mention
Human.
that game.
looks
I was
really
actually
nice.
interested in that one. And funny thing is, right as I see it, I'm like, wait, is that Jesse Williams? And then I just looked it up and turned out it was. Then I'm just like, that face when Jesse Williams. I just tweeted out like that face when Jesse Williams is in the new Exodus game. And then he's just like, thanks, man.
Amazing.
Dude, Sky also tweeted him, and he was like, "Not yet, but they should."
Oh my god. But yeah, I'm excited for that. And I think even though it is a teaser for it, actually the reason why I'm even more excited for Metroid Prime 4 is I dug up my old Wii, and I realized I'd never finished Corruption. I actually did the other day. And the fact that and actually a lot of people were angered at that, even though Retro Studios isn't making it again. It's a completely separate team, but with a lot of like the head guys from Retro. I still am excited. It just doesn't. The only thing that really angered me, if anything, is that, or at least kind of made me frown, was that they didn't give us a broad release date, which I just want to know.
Also, I'm super hyped for Sky. Wait, that came out 5 years ago. Why was that at E3 again?
You have to sell it every 2 years so they can keep making money.
Next year, the Skyrim will be on the microwave. It'll be revolutionary. You can play it anywhere.
It'll be on my Apple Watch.
It's voice controls. You're just sitting there right before
You're
like
yelling
an
at your
important business
wrist.
interview, and you're yelling, "Fuzzro duh!"
Dude, I'm still waiting for Skyrim to come out on my TI-84.
It may not support it. You may have to upgrade to the TI-84 Plus.
Oh man, that's the classic bait and switch right there. Yeah, I guess my moment of the week would be this Saturday. I went to Acon.
I'm calling this Acon. Yep.
I went to
Knew it.
Acon 28 in Fort Worth. That was a lot of fun. I only went Saturday because at the end of the month I'm traveling to LA and going to Anime Expo, so I didn't want to spend the whole amount of money to go all 4 days. But it was awesome. There was a lot of fun stuff to do there. There was a lot of cool people that I met and talked to. There was a League of Legends meetup there, and one of the guys there was like Masters tier 400 LP. He's like top 10 veins in North America. And so it was like, that was pretty legit.
Did you get his autograph?
No,
his
because
name
he
go
was wearing
to?
a TSM shirt.
Oh.
Oh, well then he doesn't count.
He doesn't count.
TSM fans aren't human.
Top,
Yeah, and
top
then,
10 vein.
A top 10 vein my ass. But no, yeah, it was all super fun. Met a lot of cool people. I got some more art for my room. I got like this poster of Ari and like a bunch of her skins, and then a poster of Ash. And I hung both of those up. They're both by Rice Nat, if any of you know who that is, or any of the listeners. But yeah, that was my moment of the week.
All right.
All right. Dr. Manhattan, do you have anything?
Not that happened this past week. However, one that's upcoming this weekend that I'm super hyped, and I'm like that you mentioned conventions, because this weekend, AwesomeCon is coming to Washington D.C. and just the lineup of people that I'm only going for like the one day. I think it's like Sunday, but the amount of like the lineup of people that are supposed to make appearances there. The biggest one is easily Stan Lee, who's making an appearance. Who I remember reading that he said like maybe like this or next year, but like he wasn't gonna be doing like many conventions anymore, if not at all. That I'm super stoked for. Along with who's showing up. I think I read Catherine Tate is showing up, which I thought she was hilarious in The Office. And she's also a huge Doctor Who person, which I've dabbled with Doctor Who. I'm not a big fan. I'm not really familiar with Doctor Who. Will Wheaton's supposed to make an appearance along with that. But I mean, I haven't really been to too many comic conventions, and I'm excited to really go to that. I'll probably like by the end of the day, I'll probably like just have a good time there, and also try to edit and make a vlog of that as well. Just because I'm trying to grow my channel a bit more, at least with just some of these like random vlogs. But yeah, excited for that. In terms of like this past week, really nothing terribly exciting, but I'm excited for AwesomeCon.
Awesome. That sounds great.
Con.
I couldn't think of a better thing to say.
I mean, it's awesome. It's awesome. That's something.
Yeah,
we
it's
describe
yeah.
AwesomeCon.
There you go.
There you go.
It's awesome, God.
It's awesome content. I
Couldn't resist. My bad.
I don't really have like a moment of the week, but I do want to let listeners know that this weekend, which is like June, what, like 16? Is that when Friday is?
Yes.
I believe so.
Yes. This weekend is pretty stacked for Cloud9 play. We got CEO Smash 4, DreamHack CSGO, LCS, Call of Duty is playing. Remember our Call of Duty team? Remember? We have one.
Remember?
We have one, and it's playing. And
What'd you
Overwatch
say?
is also playing. Overwatch, you guys. We love that team.
Overwatch is
Overwatch
dope.
is super sick.
COD is resident sleeper.
Hey, we got Priest and what's his face. We could.
And
I
what's
don't know
his
the other
face?
person that we added to the team.
That shows the respect you have for COD. I actually think I really liked the COD team. It's just they play so sporadically that
It's really hard to
it's
get
just
into.
very hard to keep up.
I agree.
Yeah, I have to agree on that one as well.
Hopefully they win, so we can at least talk about it in a better light. But yeah, check out all the Cloud9 stuff this weekend. It's gonna be super exciting. I'm gonna try to watch as much as I can.
Likewise.
All right. Well, I think that's it. Thanks for listening to the 40th episode. It's 40 episodes that we've wasted our time with you guys. Isn't that amazing?
Yay!
Woo, I've only been a part of one of them, but I still feel like I'm here.
Yeah, feel it. So thanks for listening to the 40th episode. Feel free to tweet questions and feedback to @C9Bodied or email us at bodiedfancast@gmail.com. We'll maybe answer questions on the next podcast if we get some. So please send them in. I don't care if it's a serious question or something incredibly dumb. I will answer it wholeheartedly.
Wholeheartedly.
Quote him on that one. Quote him on that one.
So thanks for listening.
I'm creating a bad email account just so I can mess with you.
Yeah, just spam the email with as many stupid questions as possible. But yeah, so thanks for listening, and we'll